Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is going to be my foundation routine, and I'm going to be telling you what I like to do, not just for my foundation, but for the base of my makeup. So how to have your makeup last all day, how to have really good coverage, and I'm also going to include some beginner tips. I want to do kind of a beginner series. So for this beginner series, I thought I'd start at the very beginning with foundation, concealer, and all that, and then maybe my next beginner video will be about how to contour, do blush, highlight. All of these beginner series videos will be talked through. It won't be voiceover, because I feel like sometimes in my makeup videos, because they are voiceover, I feel like I'm not really able to explain as much as I'd like to. So that's why I thought I'd do this series. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on into the video. Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do is get a really good primer. Now the one that I'm going to mention isn't actually a primer. I used it in my last video. It is the Nivea Men Sensitive Post Shave Balm, and I know that sounds super weird. Why would you use a men's product for your makeup? But I saw other YouTubers doing this, and when I tried it, it worked so well. This is the only primer that I've tried, or primer, that has helped my makeup stay on all day. I've tried the Makeup Forever Step 1 primer. These are really popular. I've also tried the Benefit Professional, and these two didn't help my makeup stay on. This one's a smoothing one, and this is good if you have a lot of texture on your face, or if your face just isn't smooth. This does help smooth it out. Neither of these high-end primers have helped my makeup stay on all day, and I thought that it claimed to do that as well, at least the Makeup Forever one. This did nothing for longevity, but it does help smooth your foundation, so if you're looking for that, that is a good primer. Okay, so if you're wondering how you use this, you don't need a lot, because it is, here, let me get my hair on my face. I rub it in between my fingers and just start to apply. And you can tell when you have too much or too little, like I may need a little bit more for my forehead. I'm just going to be rubbing this primer in until it feels more tacky and not as runny, because this is very runny. But as you keep rubbing it in, it does get a lot tackier and not as runny, and that's when you know that it's good. So I'm going to get just a little bit more for my forehead, because I did not get enough before. For foundation, I'm going to be using the same foundation I use in every video. This is the best foundation in my opinion. This is the Revlon Color Stay. So the brush that I'm going to be using with it is the one that I always use, and this is the Real Techniques sculpting brush. Alright, so 3 brushes I want to show you that I do not like for foundation, that are made for foundation, are first this Real Techniques one. This one is terrible. If you have this type of foundation brush and it works for you, that's great, but this kind does not work for me. I hate these kind. They're like the original foundation brushes, but this is terrible for me because it leaves streak marks and you can't blend it in. And then this one is from Sigma Beauty brushes, and I love Sigma brushes. They are probably my favorite. I don't know. This is the Flat Kabuki. I used to use this all the time for my foundation, and it is a very good brush. But I really like the round top brushes. If you can tell, this is more of a round top brush, and this is a flat brush. You can tell the difference. I just like the round top better. To me, it blends in a lot easier. And then this one, this is a round top, and this is from Tarte. And it's a really good brush, but it's so big that it shears out my foundation. But this just buffs it out into nothing because it's so big. If it were smaller, I would like it better. But this is just the perfect one for me because it is a lot smaller, so it doesn't shear it out. And it's the round top, which is my favorite for foundation. Okay, so I usually do about 1 pump on the back of my hand with this foundation. And it's kind of big. I think that's a little bit too much. I have a lot on there, so this is probably going to go on both of my cheeks. Yeah, definitely. And I'm in the shade right now. I'm in the shade 220. I start usually on one side of the face, and then I work to the other side, and then I go to my forehead, but I got so much on my brush. This is a medium to full coverage foundation, so you need to be careful when you're doing that. Don't get as much foundation as I did, because I'm not going to use even close to all of this. I pretty much got all my face, and I have like a lot left. I'm going to be blending it down my neck like always, just so there won't be a line. So that's why I blend it down my neck. Even if it matches perfectly to my skin tone, it can still look like you have a line if you don't blend it down past your jawline. A lot of times you can still see a line or where you forgot to blend it down. And also bring it kind of to the ears as well. Sometimes you can forget and there can also be a line here. Okay, now I'm going to move on to concealer. And I'm going to be using Maybelline Fit Me in 15 because this is a kind of highlighter shade for me. Not highlighter, but highlighting. I like to highlight parts of my face, which I will show you. I'm just going to be doing a line down and across. Kind of like two lines like that. A lot of people fill it in and, you know, they do tons of concealer, but I don't like to pack it on that much. I like to just kind of keep it simple. Sometimes I fill it in a little bit like that, as you can see, but I don't put on like tons and tons. And if you put on a whole lot, you can use a beauty blender. I like to use the Real Technique sponge, any kind of sponge, and that will kind of help to shear it out just a little bit so it's not as cakey and you don't have as much. And then I'm going to put it on my forehead right here. This is for highlighting purposes. I'm going to get my chin. That's another good highlighting spot. And my nose around it gets kind of red. And then I'm going to get on my nose as well for highlighting purposes. Put some on my eyelids. Okay, so I got my Real Technique sponge. I'm going to start at my chin. And you want to make sure you're pouncing it like this. If you rub it around, that's going to kind of defeat the purpose. Oh yeah, and make sure it's wet. I squeeze it under the water, the faucet, about 20 to 25 times, and then you can just kind of squeeze it out some or get a paper towel and squeeze it out and then go in with it. Make sure it's wet. Using a beauty blender or a sponge sometimes makes it take a little bit longer, but it does blend it out really well and it makes it look so much more flawless and blended. It makes it look more like it's your skin. When I go under my eyes, I like to go one way and then back the other. I mentioned this in another video, but if you do this, kind of helps there not to be any creasing, because with foundation or concealer, a lot of times it can crease under the eyes, and you don't want that to happen. So if you go back and forth each way, it kind of moves it around, so it's not just setting in one way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but it works. Doing this under your eyes and on your forehead, your nose, your chin, this really just helps brighten up your face and add a little bit more dimension to your face so it's not so flat. That's what I always like to do. I have a little tip for after you do your foundation and concealer. Just get a wet sponge or damp sponge and go over your face. Remember to pounce, not to rub. That'll kind of move your foundation around and it won't stay. But just kind of pounce around everything that you've done. And this will just make sure that you don't have any excess foundation or excess concealer, and this will just help with the cakiness, and it just makes your skin look a lot more natural. Now, I do have a tip to help conceal your spots a lot better, and so first you're going to get your concealer and go on the spots that are just hard to conceal. So I've learned that if you do dots right on the spot and then get the see how there's like a point on the end of this beauty sponge, if you just take that point and I kind of press it a little bit like this and just dab just like this, dab at it, it really helps conceal it. Alright, now moving on to our last thing is powder, and the powder that I'm going to be using is the RCMA No Color Powder. I've used this, I think, in like every video. It's really good. I shake it first so it can get on top of here, and then I'm going to take my Real Technique sponge, and I don't do this very often, but it really helps with setting your under eye concealer. It's kind of like baking, so that just really helps set it and it won't go anywhere. And I'm just going to do that under my eyes and on my eyelids because those are the spots that can really crease up. So you are going to keep your beauty sponge wet. It may seem weird that you need to keep it wet. It doesn't mess up your powder or anything like that. It actually helps. So now that I've got my under eye and my eyelids set, I'm going to set the rest of my face, and I'm going to be using the brush that I use in every video for powder, and that is the Morphe E3 brush. This is a really great brush. It's so soft and it's perfect size, so I love it, and I'm just swirling it on my face. So now that I've set everything, I'm done with my foundation part, so I'm going to move on and do, okay, sorry, my camera. But I'm going to move on and do my bronzer. I'm just going to do like blush and then eyebrows and mascara. So I'm going to do that really quick and then I will be right back. Okay guys, so that is it for my foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this helped you with your foundation routine and also the tips that I gave along the way. I hope it really helped. Let me know what videos you would like to see by commenting down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and if you want me to continue the beginner series. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.